Hey y'all, welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, the Derby Trail is starting to heat up, and the first significant one at the fairgrounds is the Lecomte Stakes. It's a Grade 3, 12th race on Saturday's card, running a mile and a 16th for the 3-year-olds. And we take a look, and boy, isn't it nice to see a nice, big, juicy field for a Derby prep. We've got 14 in this one. Brad Cox has got a couple, Dallas Stewart has a couple, Kenny McPeak has a couple, and it looks to be a pretty darn good field. Most notably Built, uh, who just won the Gun Runner, and we've got Dapper Moon, who we saw as a 2-year-old, as well as Magnitude for Steve Asmussen, and Innovator for the coach, D. Wayne Lucas. So, again, this is a pretty deep field. And we got to remember about the fairgrounds, it is the longest stretch of any of the Derby trails, and I believe, Derby tracks. So, uh, it tends to favor horses who are later runners. It's not to say that you can't win it from the front end, but it's just a little bit more of a challenge. And uh, certainly with a 14 horse field, post positions are going to be at a premium, I think, particularly going into that first turn. They're going to encounter it pretty quickly. So, uh, much the same as, like Gulfstream is always, whenever they run the Florida Derby on a turn or some of those mile and an eighth races, the horses to the outside are really compromised quite often by it. So, something to keep in mind. We're going to go through them one at a time. We'll start with Innovator for the coach. And this one's kept good company against the better 3-year-olds this year around one turn. And he's usually vying for the lead. And he was especially game in the last three. But again, this is a style of fairgrounds around two turns that probably would present a pretty major challenge to win, unless the field cooperates and you have the type of situation that Track Phantom did last year. But you don't have that here. You've got a lot of horses who want to be up and near the lead. So uh, using this style is, obviously is going to have a lot of challenges even from the rail. But if we harken back to last year with Just Steel for the coach, he was an early runner too in his first few starts. And then the coach started taking him back and teaching him how to rate and working with him. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they try to do here. Now, on the rail, that does present another challenge, is that he could get boxed in early on. But I'm not certain of it, but I just wouldn't be surprised if the coach tries to take him off the pace a little bit, and that may improve his chances. So, Innovator with the back class, and this horse has two-turn pedigree. I think he's one that you can use underneath. Obviously, if he tries to take him all the way, I think that probably is going to do him in. But I just have a feeling they're going to try to rate him a little bit, and then who knows? I mean, may have a possibility. Number 2, Maximum Promise. You're getting Kenny McPeak in the third start in the form cycle, even though there's a layoff, quite a bit of one since August. And you get an inside post for Brian Hernandez Jr., and he's by Golden Sense. Remember when that happened last time? That's right, Mystic Dan, when he won the Kentucky Derby. However, there's a lot of other speed in here, and this one hasn't run since August. Could be any kind. Could be showed a little bit of ability at 2. But at debuting at 3 for Kenny McPeak, I'm going to wait one. And at 10-1, he does offer some decent value. And this field, there's a lot of horses who have a chance. So, if you want to use them, I wouldn't talk you out of them. I just think it's a little early for a Kenny McPeak coming off the bench. Number 3, Admiral Dennis. Had a tough start in the Gun Runner, but he did keep on well. And the pace was pretty soft. So, that was really the concern for me, is that he did have time to rally against a soft pace and really wasn't able to mount a serious bid. But he kept on decently. But you have Built and Magnitude back in here again too. And note that Luis Saez is not on him, and that he went to Tough Catch. So I think this one should improve. But I think underneath would probably be the limit, the extent of my interest, and I want a little bit better price than 8-1 given the last effort. Number 4, Magnitude. He didn't run badly in the Gun Runner at all, I didn't think, but he was no match for Built. To me, this one resembles Midnight Bourbon a lot for the same connections a couple years back. He was a solid horse. He tried every time. He just wasn't quite good enough to get the job done. And that's what I see with Magnitude. I think he's a solid horse. He's a gun runner, so he should be getting better as the year progresses. But right now, I think he's just a hard knocker who's going to give it his all and probably end up underneath. And that's exactly where I would use him here. To me, number 5, Optical, is pretty interesting. He certainly needs to get faster, without a doubt, but he does have a really nice tab coming in. And Keith DeSormo is 28% adding blinkers. This one had a determined effort in the starter allowance at Churchill before the break. And I'm looking for a move forward out of this one, firing fresh. I'm just not sure it's going to be quite enough to become a win candidate, but he could fill out the exotics at a price, and I think he has the pedigree to do it as well. Coming from off the pace, should put him in good position. So Optical, I'd love to use it at 20 to 1. Probably going to get that or better. Number 6, Golden Afternoon. Hasn't really, he did well on turf, and enough that they want to find out if he can handle dirt and the Derby Trail. And it seems to me more of an owner's decision. Like, hey, he's running really well. How many times did we see Mike Rapoli do this last year? Just throwing horses off the turf, throwing horses off a maiden score, right into a stakes race. And that's kind of what it looks like to me. This one, again, he needs to get faster, and he's by Golden Sense. And it's around 2 turns, which I don't care what Mystic Dan did. It's not Golden Sense's bag. So I'm going to wait one. I'm going to let Golden Afternoon go. Number 7, Calling Card. I love the maiden score, where he displayed great acceleration a couple back. But I thought he had an okay effort first time around 2 turns at Oaklawn. Going against the Sandman, that's one that had made a little bit of noise at 2 years old, and we're definitely going to see more of him on the Derby Trail. So I didn't think it was any sin to finish 3rd. And I did like the resolve in the stretch run late. I think that one should serve as a tightener. And I think he's going to have some pace to run to. The concern I do have is the distance and being by complexity. But I think this one has some pluck and has some talent. And, Mike Maker's good at stretching them out. So 12 to 1, I think, is some good value. So let's throw a Calling Card in underneath. Number 8, Tough Catch. Dallas Stewart's doing really well at the meet. And I like the fact that Luis Saez chose to stay aboard. But when trainers keep 2- and 3-year-olds at sprints for an extended period, that's when I start wondering about how far they can go, especially when they're by a sire like Complexity. Dallas Stewart doesn't have the greatest first route percentage, but he does like to run them like his mentor, the coach. But this one, I could kind of go either way with, but I'm going to let him beat me. I just think maybe 2 turns and the level of competition probably going to be a little too much for him. Dallas Stewart's got another one in here, number 9, Dapper Moon, and this is one that I really liked it too, but it just doesn't appear he's getting any better. And pressing the pace with all that speed here could be an issue, so for now, I'm going to let Dapper Moon go. Number 10, Mo Better Than Good. He hasn't run since July, and he's by Motown. That's enough for me. Pass. Number 11, Disco Time, is, he's another Brad Cox going to a route for the first time off a maiden score, but so he could be another Admiral Dennis, or he could be something special in his first 2-turn effort off the bench. He's inside a built, so tactically I think he has a bit of an edge if he breaks better than he did last time. And if he can do that, Flo, we know Giroux likes to be aggressive, and I think he's going to have him in good position. And he certainly should be a better price than Built will be. So I'm going to take him for the win, just in the narrowest of margins. And I'm just going to trust the connections. And this one, 2 for 2, and he's looked pretty good in both, pretty professional. So we'll go with Disco Time for the win. Number 12, Jolly Samurai. I mean, I would put him underneath of it at a price, but I just like others more. I think he's certainly, we've got a couple of closes in here, and they're going to have pace to run to. So if for a price, that would be the extent of it, bottom of the try of the Super. Number 13, Built. He hadn't done anything wrong, but note that in the Gun Runner, he got off to a very soft, uncontested pace in a small field. So he had everything his own way. Though it was a good field, it was a good competitive field. So he gets a plus for that. But now you're dealing with an extreme outside post with all the speed to the inside, and I just don't like taking horses in these type of races when they had everything their own way in the last one. And I would say this: he may be good enough to overcome all these things. It's entirely possible. He looks pretty darn good. You always like to see when they put a horse out in the lead like that, showing the confidence that he's just better than the rest of them, as they did in the Gun Runner. But let's see if he can do it again. So I think he's one you certainly can use. He's a win candidate without a doubt. But I'm just going to give a little bit of an edge to Disco Time for the reasons stated. Number 14, Seattle Road. His better efforts the last two were with Lasix. So that's, and he's kind of marginal here. Certainly needs to get faster. I think he's a suck up at the price, possibly, but to use him, I got to have boxcar odds. That would be the extent of it. Just on the face, I let him go at this point right now. So we take a look at our wagering strategy. We're going to go with Disco Time, number 11 to win. And then we'll do our exactas. We'll have 11-13, 11-7, 11-5, and 11-4, leveraging each of them. And then we're going to do a trifecta with 11 on top, with 4, 5, 7, and 13, and hope for the best. This is a really tough race. It's wide open. There's a lot of ways to go. And really, I don't think any result would surprise me here. But we'll go with Disco Time with a little bit of value, a little bit of a tactical edge, but it's very fine, to say the least. Hope our analysis helps you with your own wagering strategy. Wish you the best of luck as always. We will have more postings for the stakes races, the Pick 5 at the fairgrounds, so be on the lookout for that. And we'll also have some best bets, some value plays, and some other things as well. Also want to note, go back and take a look at the posting I did for last week for Santa Anita for the Turf Pick 3 and the stakes races. They're all going to be run on Saturday. They did draw them differently, so please note the change in post positions. But if you want a refresher, go back and take a look at the postings I did on that. And nice to see that they're going to run those races. So that's it from here. I'll talk to you soon. And until then, be well.